So everybody, Xilicks here, and welcome to week 10 of the MLBA. The reason we are on week 10 and not week 9 is not because I missed an upload, but it's because my opponent for week 9 hasn't said anything on the server in a couple weeks, so I don't know when that battle will be happening, if ever. I believe the ruling is if it's like 1 or 2 more weeks and there's no response, then I just get a forfeit win, which obviously, you know, I don't want to be taking forfeit wins, but it is what it is. I'll take what I can get. But looking at this week's matchup, we are rematching Shuckleking. Previously, he 6-0'd me because lead Gallade really messed me up. Kind of threw my whole plan out the window. I still don't really have a proper switch into Gallade. Nothing takes the combination of either close combat or stone edge. Literally everything on my team gets destroyed by that coverage. But hopefully I will be able to come out with a win, or at least not get 6-0'd. I'm going to kind of briefly go over some of my sets. I'm not really going to go into too much detail, but Empoleon is max special defense. The Swaddloon is max defense with the Violet, obviously, running some weird moves on it. But none of those really came into play anyways. I'm running an interesting Zygarde set. We'll get there when it happens in the battle. My Zapdos is just a normal like defensive defog set. And then my Frostlass is Choice Scarfed because his team is really weak to ice coverage. And the only thing that switches in to ice moves, well, no ice resistances were brought. So yeah, ice kind of just goes ham. And then the Gallade and Mew I can hit with Shadow Ball. So if I'm able to preserve the Frostlass for late game, it can be useful. And then the Lopunny is a standard fake out, return, high jump kick, and Ice Punch for the Landorus. So looking at his team, he brought the same exact thing as last time, but he did bring the Skarmory this time. I think he brought the Skarmory because he was fearing potentially me running a last resort set on my Lopunny. I did mention that I considered bringing that last time, but the thing that deterred me from it was the potential of Skarmory. But we didn't see Skarmory last time, so maybe he thought, okay, well, I should bring the Skarmory because Skarmory is a great check to Lopunny, and it limits Lopunny from wanting to run either Ice Punch or Thunder Punch. Obviously, I'm going to have the Ice Punch just because there's so many Mons on his team that are weak to Ice that it's hard to pass up on the Ice option. I'm pretty sure every single Mon on my team has an Ice move this week except for Zygarde. So yeah, there's that. But let's get into the battle. I decided to leave with my Lopunny in case we saw Naganadel or Gallade lead. He does lead with the Landorus. Now, my play 100% of the time is going for Fake Out. I know he's going Skarmory. I could go into Zapdos, but if he predicts Zapdos and clicks Stone Edge Life Orb, he could close to Oko me, if not Oko me, depending on how much attack investment he's running. The Skarmory reveals its Rocky Helmet pretty early on, and I'm going to show that my Zapdos is going to be a great switch-in for that while he reveals the Drill Peck. Now, the Drill Peck means I can't really sit there with my Lopunny or my Swaddloon because obviously they're not going to want to take that. Now here, I know he's going Landorus, but I have to click the safe Thunderbolt just in case he goes into the Ninetales. I don't want that thing getting up Aurora Veil for free, which he's going to do here as I go for the Hidden Power. Now, again, I know this Ninetales is coming out. I know that's the play, but I don't want to make these early on predictions because what if I go and Empoleon there and he Earth Powers, you know? Like, obviously, Earth Powering a Zapdos is a really risky play, but I don't want to lose this game because of the early turns. So I'm just going to make safe plays. Whatever. I don't care if he gets Aurora Veil. I can bring in my Empoleon. Here comes the Aurora Veil. I believe I go for a knockoff here because it generally just covers anything that wants to switch in except for the Gallade. But I don't expect the Gallade to come in because he could potentially be fearing a Scald Burn, which obviously, you know, you don't want your physical attackers getting burned. I am going to get rid of the Life Orb on the Landorus. Now, getting rid of the Life Orb means I can actually live in Earth Power right here. If I stay in, I can live the Earth Power. But Empoleon is such a great switch into Naganadel and the Mew and the Skarmory and the Ninetales that I don't want to risk potentially getting a crit or him potentially being like modest or something like that. So I am going to go my Swaddloon, which can take the Earth Power very nicely. And then I believe here I tried a Toxic. Yeah, and he goes Skarmory, which, you know, it's whatever. I wasn't like, I didn't want to reveal the HP Ice in case it came to play later on. So I just decided to Toxic, because if he did attack me again there with a Stone Edge, I would have lived, and then I could HP Ice on the next turn, because I can live 2 Stone Edges, unless of course he crits. He's going to get his Stealth Rocks here. I can just defog away both the Aurora Veil and the Stealth Rocks, which will force him to set it up again, assuming that he might have, he does have the Lake Lay item, so I will be able to defog those, which he will set them up again here. Now here I considered Flash Cannoning. Obviously I could do a lot of damage. I think I make a double into Frostlass, which, you know, is going to threaten this Mew. So then I go Zapdos, and he Psychics. Now, the reason I feel he stayed in here is because I think Shadow Ball is doing anywhere from 30 to 40 with the Aurora Veil up, assuming he's pretty bulky. And it's not too common for Frostlass in League play to have Shadow Ball. Like, it's obviously a very reasonable thing to think, oh, this Frostlass probably has Shadow Ball. But a lot of Frostlass can be run with, like, utility sets with the Spike, Taunt, Destiny Bond, whatever, Ice Beam probably. So maybe he wasn't predicting it, maybe not. But my Zapdos is able to soak these Psychics, and I can just fire back with Thunderbolts. I am going to Roost up first. Now here, I make a bit of a misplay by going for the Thunderbolt, because in my mind, I can't let this Naganadel set up for free, and I'm thinking that he might go straight to it, and he does. So he sets with the Nasty Plot. I do have the Hidden Power, but because of the Aurora Veil, it is going to nerf the damage on that. Now, the reason I said it was a misplay earlier was the Thunderbolt was a misplay, and it's not because, oh, I should have Hidden Power Iced, predicting the Naganadel. The proper play would have been to defog, because the Mew I know isn't really doing much to me, and if the Mew is running Toxic, he would have already shown it already, I feel, against the Zapdos instead of clicking Psychic again. So I should have defogged the screens away first. Because I left the screens up, it is going to give him the mindset that he can safely go into the Naganadel and then start to set up. So because of that, I have to lose my Zapdos here. Nothing can switch in, and I don't really care if he gets the Beast Boost, even at +2, assuming he doesn't Beast Boost Special Attack, which would be really weird to do that against my team, because then like Lopunny would outspeed and you know, whatever. So here he Fire Blasts. He's gonna hit, whatever, that's fine. Fire Blast, the calc is if he's timid, which I not guaranteed. I found out he's not modest, so probably timid. The Fire Blast is doing like less than half. It can, however, have a damage roll where it does more than half, and there's also the chance where it burns. But he's going to get a critical hit and do 70% of my health, so that sucks, because what could have happened is I could have survived 2, depending on rules. I could have survived 2 and fire back with the Ice Beam on the second turn, which would have knocked out the Naganadel, or let's just pretend my Empoleon's at 50% health, and like maybe it does like 46, because that's like I think a pretty normal roll. He might want to swap to either Skarmory or Mew at that point to take the next Ice Beam, and the Naganadel being this low is perfect for me. Like 2,000,000%, this is best case scenario. So even if he switched out here, I'm golden. Even if I Ice Beam something else, it's fine. But no, he is going to be able to knock out my Empoleon. Now basically what could have happened is a couple scenarios. The first thing is he tries to knock out my Empoleon with a second Fire Blast. He either misses, he either gets the roll, or he gets a burn and knocks me out. And then he would lose his Naganadel as well in that situation, unless he knocks me out with the first one. If he doesn't knock me out with the first one though, and I knock out the Naganadel, then I can keep this Empoleon around for later. And I'm in a really good position, because the worst thing he could do is go into Gallade and set up a Sword Stance. But that's risky, because without the Aurora Veil up, he risks taking a lot of damage from Scald because I'm in Torrent, and he can also get burned. And on top of that, he gets outsped by things. So he could revenge with the Gallade if he wants. He could revenge with the Landorus if he wants. But I feel like I had the pretty safe switch in of going into the Swadloon, because I'm okay if the Swadloon goes down at this point. But yeah, and enough with the theory modding, whatever. Basically, what I'm getting at is the crit mattered because I feel like I had a really decent shot of making a comeback, because I can break walls with Lopunny and then win with the Zygarde and Frostlass towards the end. So here I fake out because I literally have to. Obviously the play would have been high jump kick, which Had I high jump kicked the Skarmory twice, that could have been cool. The reason I stayed in high jump kicked here is because Swaddling gets destroyed by Drill Peck. The play should have been going into the Frostlass and like letting that go down or something or whatever. But I go Frostlass here, Shadow Ball. I believe he roosts, and I'm just gonna kind of skip past a little bit. Basically, he gets the 30% off of Drill Peck. I knock him out. He brings in the Ninetales, and I'm just going to spam Shadow Ball until this thing goes down. And then I go into my Zygarde, 1000 Arrows. He brings in the Naganadel. And the reason I didn't explain my Zygarde start at the beginning is because I'm Choice Scarf. Now, Choice Scarf Zygarde had a very interesting matchup this week because I'm running the Choice Scarf on my Frostlass, right? So I can get surprise KOs with the Frostlass or just do a lot of damage with the combination of Ice Beam, Shadow Ball. And then I can late game sweep with Zygarde. And if Frostlass isn't able to put in the work with Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, then I can break walls with Lopunny. Because the normal fighting coverage, there's no resistances. The only thing that can comfortably take hits is the Skarmory and the Mew to a certain extent, but they don't want to be constantly switching in on. So if I'm able to, you know, attack the Skarmory and then switch out to my Zapdos or my Empoleon, if I'm able to attack the Mew with my Frostlass, then I can weaken everything for this Zygarde with the Choice Scarf to win the late game, because at this point, nothing was Choice Scarfed, nothing outsped except for a Beast Boosted Naganadel. But that's going to be the game because he's going to go Gallade, and Swaddling is able to take one hit. I do Toxic it on the Swords Dance, but the Stone Edge is going to connect, and the Outrage is only doing 50%, and he's going to knock me out with the +2 Drain Punch, giving him the 3-0 win. Now, as I mentioned, the crit on the Empoleon was unfortunate because I could have played the late game differently. I think losing my Lopunny the turn I did was definitely a misplay, and also not defogging away the screens was a misplay. Because also, if I defogged away the screens, then the crit didn't matter regardless because the first Ice Beam would have killed, but I don't think he would have stayed in if there weren't screens up and I hit him with an HP Ice from Zapdos. But anyways, I'm doing a ridiculous amount of theory modding, but yeah, my two misplays were not defogging away the screens with the Zapdos, and then also the turn where I let Lopunny go down. If I preserved Lopunny a little bit better, then I maybe could have broken the Gallade for the Zygarde to win. But who knows? It is what it is. It's Mons. The crit happened, whatever, and I don't really think that he won because of the crit. I just think without the crit, I had a better chance of winning. And I really hope like people understand I'm not mad about the crit. I'm just saying because of the crit, I would have had a better chance. So again, props to him. He's definitely the best battler in this league. He's undefeated so far, and he's been, you know, winning a lot of his games. He 6-0'd me earlier in the season. I'm glad that this was obviously a closer game. I'm a little bit upset though, obviously, because I feel I could have brought it even closer than a 3-0, and potentially could have even won, but it is what it is. GG to him, and hopefully I never have to face him again this season because this team is busted. I will see you guys next time. Kiddings, bye.